A very good morning, children. I welcome you all for today's learning session. First, we'll have a quick recap from previous class and we'll learn new terms, that is, what is an atom and its characteristics, what is a molecule and its characteristics. In the last class, we learned about the definition of compounds. A compound is a pure substance formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a definite proportion by mass. Here, water is an example for a compound where water is formed by the chemical combination of two or more elements in a fixed ratio. And we learned about characteristics of a compound and we saw the differences between elements and compounds. Today, we are going to learn what is an atom and how it is composed of. Atoms are the building block of all substances around us. Atom itself is made up of three tiny kind of particles called subatomic particles, namely protons, neutrons and electrons. For defining an atom with an example, I have taken carbon, where the protons and the neutrons make up the center of the atom called the nucleus, and the electrons are present outside the nucleus. Here in this picture you can see the carbon atom, where the center of an atom is called as nucleus, and this nucleus contains protons and neutrons. Here the blue colored circles are called protons and the red color circle are called neutrons. And outside the nucleus you have electrons. And altogether, carbon atom is made up of electron, proton and neutrons. Protons and neutrons are present at the center of the atom, and that is called nucleus, and the electrons are present outside the nucleus. Now we'll see the differences between atoms and molecules. The different kind of atoms combined in a fixed ratio to form in numerous molecules and substances. An atom is the smallest unit of an element that shows all the properties of that element. For example, sodium and gold, where these two elements are made up of their own atoms. Gold element is made up of gold atoms, sodium element is made up of sodium atoms. And atoms are highly reactive. They are highly reactive. There are no chemical bonds in atoms. When come to molecules, a molecule is the smallest unit of an element or compound that exists independently. The example of molecules are hydrogen and carbon dioxide. The molecules are less reactive when compared to atoms. Atoms in a molecule are held together by chemical bonds. An element is composed of minute particles called atoms. An atom is the smallest unit of an element that shows all the properties of that element. For example, in this periodic table, all the elements are made up of their own atoms, and the atoms which is present in each element show all the properties of that element. For example, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. All these contains an atoms, and these atoms shows the properties of that particular element. Some atoms are capable of independent existence, while others are found in combination with atoms of same element or different element. Characteristics of an atom. The atoms are very reactive and therefore exist in combination with the atoms of the same element or other elements. For example, oxygen atoms are found in combination with atoms of oxygen or other elements. Here you can see oxygen, where it is combined with another oxygen to form oxygen molecule. Whereas the oxygen is also present in the water molecule, where it is formed by the chemical combination between hydrogen, that is 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. So there are some elements in the periodic table which can exist independently and cannot exist independently. In that case, noble gases, on the other hand, exist independently. So these are the noble gases which is present in the periodic table, where you can see at the right hand side corner of the periodic table, namely helium, neon, argon, krypton, xenon and radon. All these are noble gases and they can exist independently. So as I said earlier, the atoms are very reactive and therefore exist in combination with the atoms of the same element or other elements. For example, oxygen atoms are found in combination with atoms of oxygen or other elements. The atoms of an element are identical and exhibit same properties. Where, for example, the atoms in the oxygen are identical and they exhibit the same properties of oxygen. The atoms of an element differ from those of other elements. For example, the atoms which is present in oxygen element and the atoms which is present in hydrogen element differ between each other. The elements are classified into atoms and molecules. For an example of atoms, I have shown helium, and for an example of molecules, I have shown oxygen molecules. So these are the elements contain one type of atoms or molecules. For example, an atom of hydrogen, another atom of hydrogen to form a molecule of hydrogen. An atom of oxygen and another atom of oxygen combine to form a molecule of oxygen. An atom of nitrogen, another atom of nitrogen combines to form a molecule of nitrogen. Now we'll see what is the definition of molecule and its characteristics. A molecule is formed when 2 or more atoms of the same or different types of elements combined in a fixed ratio. There are 118 different kind of atoms. Most of these atoms do not like to stay alone. Therefore, they combine with other atoms to form bigger size particle called molecules. A molecule is the smallest particle of an element or a compound that exists independently and show all the properties of that substance. Characteristics of a molecule. The atoms of same element or different elements combine to form molecules. When 2 or more atoms of the same element combine, they form the molecule of an element, and when atoms of 2 or more different elements combine, they form the molecule of a compound. That is, 2 or more atoms. Here, one oxygen atom and another oxygen atom of the same element oxygen combine and they form molecule of an element. Whereas here, 2 or more different elements, that is hydrogen as an element, oxygen as an element, combine and they form the molecule of a compound. To show the examples of molecules having same kind of atoms and molecules having different kind of atoms. Here you can see molecule. I have already told you that hydrogen, when they combine with the same kind of atoms, they are called molecules of an element. That is, molecules having same kind of atoms. Here hydrogen is a molecule where it is formed by the same atoms of hydrogen element. Whereas here you can see molecule of oxygen, where this molecule is formed by the combination of the same atoms of the same element, namely oxygen. Whereas in the molecule of chlorine, the molecule chlorine is formed by the combination of 2 atoms of chlorine and forming a chlorine molecule. Whereas these kind of molecules are formed by the combination of different kind of atoms of different elements. So here you can see that the molecule of water is formed by the combination of different elements, hydrogen element and oxygen element. They combined by the combination of 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. So altogether this is a molecule of water, whereas a molecule of hydrogen chloride is formed by the combination of hydrogen and chlorine. So basically the molecules can be classified into 2, where the molecules are formed by the combination of the same atoms and molecules are formed by the combination of 2 or more atoms of different elements. One is the molecule is formed by the combination of 2 or more atoms of the same element, that is for example hydrogen, oxygen or chlorine, and there are molecules which are formed by the combination of atoms of different element in a fixed ratio. The atoms of different elements are combined in a fixed whole number ratio in a molecule. The atoms in a molecule are held together by chemical bonds. A chemical bond refers to the force of attraction between atoms and that enables the formation of chemical compounds. Here the water molecule is formed by the chemical bond. This line actually indicates a chemical bond which connects the 2 atoms of different elements to form a compound. A chemical formula that represents the total number and kind of atoms in a molecule is called a molecular formula. So chemical formula will help us to know the type of the atoms present in a molecule, and they are called as a molecular formula. Here you can see so many examples for molecules or compound, that is carbon dioxide is a compound, magnesium oxide, zinc chloride, hydrogen chloride and calcium chloride. They are all formed by the combination of 2 or more atoms of the different elements. Here ammonia, water, calcium oxide, nitrogen dioxide and copper oxide. They are also formed by the combination of 2 or more atoms of different elements by a chemical bond. Thank you children. I'll meet you in the next video with a new topic. Take care.